And this was something that was actually planned back in 2024 to open a Canadian consulate on Greenland. The reason back then was to kind of assert our alliance with other Arctic nations, other Arctic territories, in the face of what was seen at the time as potential aggression from China to a certain extent, but largely from Russia. Now, of course, the theme has changed a little bit because of Donald Trump's desire to somehow annex, acquire, buy, invade Greenland and make it part of the United States, as he said multiple times. So Canada is uniting with other countries and kind of asserting our presence in Greenland. So Anita Anand, the Foreign Affairs Minister, accompanied by the Governor General, Mary Simon, and a large group of Inuit, mostly from northern Quebec, but some from across the country. And of course, the Governor General herself is Inuit. So they are going to be attending that event later today. Really kind of just more a symbolic gesture than anything else. And so why a consulate? Well, as opposed to an embassy? Well, Greenland, of course, is a protectorate of the Kingdom of Denmark, and we already have an embassy in Denmark. So consulates are usually opened up in places where people tend to need government services when they're not in a capital city. So if you look across the United States, for example, there's lots of Canadian consulates in places like Boston, New York City. I think there's one in Texas. I believe there's one in Houston, as well as San Francisco, Seattle. And generally what happens in a consulate is they do a little bit of business there, and sometimes backpackers who've lost their passports show up at a consulate trying to get a new one. So I don't expect this to be a really busy consulate in Greenland because there's really not that much Canadian tourism to Greenland, although maybe with some of the news coverage over the past few months, it may have increased interest in people in going recreationally to Greenland. Wouldn't recommend going at this time of year. It tends to be a lot colder, although I think it's actually the temperatures in Greenland right now are warmer than they are in Toronto and certainly where I am here in Ottawa. We'll watch really closely that ceremony to see what happens, and we'll also be watching to see if there's any kind of reaction from the United States. I think our cover here is, this is not intended to provoke the Americans by opening this consulate, but really just kind of making good on something that was planned in 2024 as part of Canada's review of its policy towards the Arctic. There will be ultimately, there's already been a diplomat appointed as the temporary Consul General in Nuuk, which is where the consulate will be located. But I expect at some point there will be a permanent representative named as the Consul General there, possibly somebody who's already serving in Denmark, taking that on as sort of a ceremonial, traditional role. We'll watch that ceremony this afternoon, and we should have pictures in within the hour, I think, Visa, images, pretty stunning images, I think, though, to see the Canadian flag being raised over Greenland at a time when the future of the island is so uncertain and there is still this looming jeopardy from the United States.